In my pot, I have 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and it's on a medium heat. Now, this is not the recipe I grew up enjoying. My egg and aloo, or curry egg with aloo, it was never fried like this. It was just the curry was made, the eggs was put in, and mommy really never added aloo or potato to it for us. But this is another way of doing it as well. And what they do is you boil the eggs, hard-boiled eggs, and this will enable it to create a sort of a crust. By frying it, you're going to give it a crust, and that crust is going to add more depth of flavor to the curry dish. So now that I've got that slight crust, and I'll show you what I mean. I can just grab one of these up. It's not cooperating for some reason. Hello, Mr. Egg. I'm trying to show the people what we're doing. So we've got that crust there. And if you want it to go darker, you can certainly go darker. I'm just going to turn my heat down, and I'm just going to remove them and set them aside now. See, this one here has that lovely crust on it. Just going to set that aside. These are going to go back, and you can see the color that I'm talking about there. These are going to go back in a little bit later into the proceedings, but for now, I'm just going to turn this one over. In the same pot, we're going to add onion, and now we're creating the sort of curry base for the dish. I'm just going to hit that a quick stir. Now, if you wanted to cut back on the amount of oil in there, you can certainly do that. Like I said, I started off with 3 tablespoons. If you wanted to, after you brown the eggs or sort of created that sort of crust, if you wanted to fish out about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of that oil from there, by all means, go ahead and do that. Garlic. And the full recipe in its printable format will be available at caribbeanpot.com within the next 48 hours. So don't worry too much about the ingredient list and everything. I always sort you guys out over there. Gonna give that a nice little stir. My heat is on medium low because I don't want to burn the garlic, nor the onion or anything else. I just want to flavor that oil with all those lovely flavors. Some fresh ground black pepper. If you wanted to put some cumin seeds in here, which we call jeera, by all means, add that in there. It's going to give it a lovely flavor. I'm just going to slowly cook this for about 4 minutes. And as we continue, what I'm going to do at this point, I like it a bit spicy. So in goes a whole Scotch bonnet pepper, and that's a green one. It's not fully mature. So while there will be some heat, it's more about flavor and a bit of that heat as well too. It's just cut in half, as you can see. The seeds are still in there. Remember to wash your hands with soap and water immediately after handling such hot peppers. If spicy is not your thing, you can, totally leave it out. If Scotch bonnet is difficult for you to source, you can use any spicy pepper you can source. Sometimes we just like habanero or jalapeno or maybe a fatale or whatever, and use in amounts that you can handle, that you can tolerate, that your family can handle. Because the last thing I want is for you all to make a dish that is too spicy and you cannot eat it. I'm just gonna slightly turn up the heat just a little bit more, just to make sure all those things come together. What I have here is some ground masala that I added. I guess the camera was off, and that ground masala can be found at your local Caribbean stores or online, maybe at caribshopper.com or something. And all you would do is add that in there while that onion and garlic is going, prior to adding the actual curry powder that you'll be using. I want that masala to sort of wet toast or fry in this flavored oil that we have here, just to bloom the different spices which makes up a good masala. And we'll do the same thing with the curry powder, because the whole idea is to extract as much flavor from the ingredients as possible. Curry, egg, and aloo means you're going to go in with your curry powder, and you can use your favorite curry powder. You can see the curry powder and masala went a bit darker in color. It's starting to clump together, and the entire kitchen should have that lovely aroma of nice things happening. At this point, we're going to add some water, and we're going to need some more water. But what I want to do is, by adding half or maybe about a quarter of the water right now, it allows me to scrape the bottom of the pot or the pan or whatever it is that you're using, just to be able to pull up all the fond on the bottom there. And so all kind of niceness is going to be happening there, so don't worry too much. What I also like doing at this point is going in with some tomato, tomato, and that is just some diced tomato seeds and everything. If you wanted to remove the seeds and the skin, it's totally up to you. And the reason why I like adding tomato in my curry dishes, it brings acidity and balance to everything. So it's all about balancing those flavors right from the start, which at the end will result in a better tasting dish. So always keep that in mind. Along with everything else, salt. Yeah, we need some salt in there. I did have the potatoes, which are already pre-cooked, or the aloo. This is the sort of the aloo element of things. That has been pre-boiled in salted water, so I don't have to really go too heavy with the salt at this point. Later on we can taste it and adjust it to our liking. Hit that a stir. And what we're going to do is add some more water in here now. Bring it up to a boil and let that go for about 5 to 7 minutes, just so the tomato is allowed to break down a bit and all those flavors come together in harmony. It's been about 4 minutes since I added the water and brought it up to a boil there. It's on a rolling boil, so which is medium heat. At this point, since I have the pre-cooked potato already, I'm just going to gently toss that in there. And the reason for adding the potato a little bit early is because I want the potato to absorb some of that rich curry sauce that we have there. And we'll do the very same thing with the eggs as well too, because we want all of that lovely flavor to be absorbed into everything. So what I'm going to do now is give that a mix, and then we're going to make sure everything is covered in that lovely curry sort of sauce or gravy that we have going on there. We're going to reduce it down. It's going to thicken up a bit. It's going to absorb all those flavors. We're just about 4 or 5 minutes away from being done. Make sure it's on a sort of a rolling boil, because we really, it's a bit too thin at this point here. Now keep in mind, you will need gravy, because traditionally how we would enjoy this when mommy would make it, and again, her recipe is totally different than the one that I'm sharing here today. Would be more about having that gravy or sauce to eat with sada roti, hot sada roti, and if you had a slice of avocado on the side, proper thing, some mango kuchula, whatever it is you like with your curry dishes, you can put it on your plate and enjoy yourself. Anyhow, we're gonna reduce this down and tighten everything up. It's been about 5 minutes since I added the potato. I remember they were pre-cooked, pre-boiled into the pot here, and now I am using a clay pot, which will have a lot of residual heat. And this is starting to thicken up, but it's still a bit runny. But the point is, at this point, you will taste that, adjust the salt to your own liking, and you have an option of finishing off with either some chopped shadow benny, which is culantro, or you can use cilantro, which is coriander. In my case here, I have some chopped parsley fresh from the garden. Lately, the whole coriander thing isn't working for me. I just don't like the flavor lately, and I'm saving some of my, and you would have seen in my previous video there where I have some shadow benny or culantro growing in the garden, but I'm saving that for a couple more recipes coming forward. What I forgot to mention earlier, when you had the onion and the garlic in the pot with the oil, if you wanted to add some Caribbean green seasoning, boom, that will add a lovely herbal note to everything else. But I really want to heighten the flavor of the ground masala and the curry element to this. So we're pretty much done. I'm just going to give this another minute and we're going to finish things up. In goes that chopped parsley, and as I said, you can use whatever sort of finish you want on this. It's totally up to you. Sup soldiers, listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. Give that a final stir. Egg and aloo. Curry egg with potato. Egg curry with potato, depending on where you are. I ain't trying to hate on people today. Today's not a hating kind of day. Today's a enjoying yourself. I'll go down talking. While I don't have sada roti, what I do have is some bus up shot or paratha. So I'm not going on talking, and I do hope you all get an opportunity to give this one a try. Yo, it's our best curry, man. And you know, minus the egg, which vegans won't want to appreciate, but if you're going meat free, it's a good option. Irie? Irie.